How you going, guys? And this video will be about solipsism. And why am I making this video? Because for the whole overarching theme of my channel, helping people. This is the reason I'm making this video, due to this comment right here. I usually leave the username in, but I've just cut it out for a bit of privacy because of the nature of the comment, which is, I love your videos, wish you do more videos harping on solipsism. I'll be honest, I plan to eventually end the show early over the concept I can't do this anymore. I've slightly paraphrased the comment, but you'll see it there. And this is what I'm saying. This is obviously a very negative comment, not very uplifting. And that's the whole reason I made this channel, to help people overcome their suffering, psychological suffering. And I left a reply to that comment saying what I've said many times on this channel. You need to fix problems at the level that they're at. Spirituality isn't about spiritually bypassing your emotional trauma. It's like the tools we have in our shed. A screwdriver is meant for driving in screws. You don't use a screwdriver as a hacking device, you use a saw. You don't use it as a hammer, you use a hammer. You can't use one tool for every purpose. If your car breaks down, you see the mechanic. If you've got pain in your body, you take some painkillers. If you've got psychological suffering, emotional trauma, see a psychologist or a counselor. Spirituality is not meant to fix all these problems. But the one thing spirituality will do is eventually, once you've fixed all these problems in this world, stop them happening again. Well, I should be very clear with what I just said. It will not stop your car from continuing to break down, but you have the mindset of not getting so emotional and angry when it does. It won't stop pain in your body, but with the practice of mindfulness, it can lessen pain to a very big degree. But of course, take pain medication. But here's the ultimate thing it will do: solve your suffering. All suffering is in the mind, because all suffering is in thinking. Animals experience pain, but they don't experience suffering. Pain is in the body. Suffering's in the mind. All these thoughts of shoulda, coulda, woulda, why did they do that? Why did they do this? I could have been so much more in my life. How dare they? Or they think they're better than me. Suffering, torment through thinking, through taking our beliefs about reality to be really, really real, and suffering as a result. And solipsism is a belief system. Everything's a belief system. That's what non-duality is saying, which we'll pick apart this philosophy of solipsism fairly soon. But I just want to repeat, if you feel this way, genuinely feel this way, you need psychological help. This isn't about spirituality. And here's another thing that I've come to realize. If I had all this non-dual Advaita Vedanta knowledge, I should really say Advaita Vedanta, because non-dual is an umbrella term for just everything's pure consciousness. But Advaita Vedanta is a complete teaching. Shows you what to do. Shows you how to live in a logical, happy, peaceful way. It's a complete teaching. But that's the thing. Advaita Vedanta, if I learnt this early personally, my life would have been a lot different. I grew up with a few issues of low self-esteem, introversion, which you can't control whether you're an introvert or not, but I had a bit of social anxiety, introverted and socially anxious. But if I knew all these teachings when I was young, I would have had so much more peace, happiness, confidence. Basically, once your inner world transforms, your outer world slowly transforms. But then again, I had to go through what I had to go through to finally get this enlightening knowledge, which has changed my life. And that's what I'm sharing with you guys. But the fact remains, spirituality is meant to be a long-term fix to your problems, the long-term fix of suffering. Also that saying, prevention is better than cure. It's also meant to prevent these problems from occurring in the future. But you need to start where you're at. You're in suffering. you have very negative thoughts right now, you need seriously psychological help. And come back to spirituality when all that's sorted. And I made this channel to help. And one of the reasons I harp on about solipsism, one of the reasons I mention other YouTubers, and there's one that I know many of you love. And that's the thing. Please don't think me being critical of one of their teachings is attacking the person. I'm just critical or showing some flaws in the teaching. It's got nothing to do with the person. And who's that person? Many of you tell me, why do you keep talking about him? Leo Gura. Please again remember, we live in a day and age where if you disagree with someone, apparently you hate them. But in ancient India, you know how they would used to debate? What do we think debates of now as? Yelling matches, name calling, going off the main point, like a couple of atheists did on my channel. Can't stick to the main point. Can we just talk about this main point? I'm in total agreement with everything else you're talking about, but can we just stick to this point? Are you happy or not? Yes or no? That's what my channel's about, inner peace and happiness. That's what the main goal is. Then they run off into different topics and name calling, that's why I can't take them seriously. That's why they don't affect me, because if you can't stick to the main point, we can't have an intelligent discussion. But you know how ancient debates went in ancient India regarding spirituality and philosophy? Someone would present their case without name calling. Here's what I believe to be true. What did the other person have to do? Listen, repeat back to them what they said to their satisfaction. The other person would have to say, so you're saying this. And then they would say, yes, that's what I'm saying. And then, and only then, they would refute their point. Then the other person would have to say back to them what their point was. And then they would say yes. And then they would refute their point. See how it forces you to listen, stick to the main point, and then give your argument against it. And then the other person has to listen, repeat it back to you, and give their argument. This was very productive. It was a way of coming to the truth, the ultimate truth that we're all genuinely seeking if you're genuinely into spirituality or philosophy. No yelling, no name calling, no I'm better than you. It's like, let's try to find some truth together. What do you think? What do I think? Let's move forward together. That's what the Advaita Vedantins and Buddhists did for a close to 1,000 year debate. 800 to 1,000 years. And guess what? Both teachings flourished. Because when you have to face your opponent and give your arguments, and they have to do it too, you make progress. Humans make progress when we work together. So when I talk about Leo Gura's solipsism or anything else, I know a lot of people will think, oh, you're attacking him, you're bashing him. No, I'm just picking flaws in his teaching. And why? For this very reason. People that say, look, these solipsism teachings are making me depressed. And don't take my word for it. One of the videos I watched on Leo Gura, he started his intro saying that. It was basically about a video where he said, I made a video about solipsism, then I chose to take it down. And he said, I chose to take it down because I don't know who's watching my videos. People could watch this and take it the wrong way or use solipsism for terrible purposes. As in, everything's a dream, I might as well hurt others, I might as well cause misery and suffering, which you won't think is misery and suffering because people aren't conscious anyway. He's basically was saying how people can take those solipsistic teachings and use them for their own egoic purposes, which is exactly what I'm saying. And that's the issue I found with Leo Gura's teachings, not the person. He has probably made, and I know many of you said he has got some good teachings, and I'm nothing against him. I'm just saying that one teaching can be very dangerous. I've heard of people going to non-duality retreats and not coming back because it's affected their mind and they've chosen to do certain things. Non-duality retreats. Even monks. I heard a monk once say this. Even in an ashram. One of the disciples went down to the river, never came back. And this is traditional teachings. In other words, these high teachings, heard at the wrong time by the wrong person, can have damaging effects. When the intellect can't properly grasp what is being said, you can go crazy and end the show early. And that's why Advaita Vedanta, traditional non-dual teachings, were only taught to qualified students. And what is a qualified student? Someone with a strong devotional nature to a higher power. That humbles the ego. Someone with the mindset of service. All those godly principles I talk about. That purifies the mind. Gets the mind out of all these egoic thought patterns, making everything about itself. Oh, non-duality. One appearing separate. Oh, I'm the only thing that exists. See, this is egoic thinking. You need the mind to be pure, humble, to get true non-dual knowledge. And then you won't have all these paranoid, deluded thoughts about ending things quickly or early and other warped ideas. Are they conscious? I'm conscious, are they? This all comes from hearing high knowledge too early. You need a devotional nature. There's you and there's God in these traditional teachings. Remove God, there's only you. And now you think, oh, my ego is the only thing that matters. It's all about me. There's no one else. There's no God. There's only me. So serve me. Make me happy. That leads to misery because you're not seeing reality correctly. Bring in the God concept. I won't go into a deep dive of the God concept. And that lowers the ego, humbles it. Thinks, I don't know everything. I don't control everything. I don't own anything. So keep your head down. Be very grateful, humble, and watch all the blessings and all the wisdom come into your life. And these teachings will be absorbed correctly. But getting back into this solipsism, like I said, Leo admitted this himself. He said he released a video on solipsism and then he took it down. Many of his subscribers were angry. Why did you take that down? He said because it can cause psychological suffering and the teachings can get warped. Then later on in this video, he said how he has come to the final awakening where he's realized God. He is God, he's saying. He has achieved God consciousness. And he knows how he's consciously creating reality, how he's created reality, how he's created his parents, how he's consciously creating the hair growing on his skin, how no one's awakened but him. All spiritual teachings are nonsense. No one's enlightened but him. And I know people are going to say, yeah, but he's speaking from that high place, not his truth, not Leo. He's speaking from the ultimate level. And I get it. I understand if it's the first video you've seen of me, you think I'm in ignorance of what he's saying. No, I understand what he's trying to point to. But the problem is it gets very confusing to average people. And then he says, look, I'm not even going to talk about spiritual practice because that's all nonsense too. Also in that video, he was saying, look, I don't know how to teach this moving forward. This is a very powerful teaching. I'm concerned it can be taken the wrong way. You know what the problem is here? Leo Gura is a highly advanced spiritual seeker, but he has a YouTube channel. So basically, he's a highly advanced spiritual seeker with no backing from scriptures. Fair enough. Many people don't believe in books and ancient knowledge. But that's the problem. He's on this journey to spiritual awakening, teaching others, giving them teachings, then deleting the video, saying this can cause you suffering. If you can see what I'm saying here, he's teaching but not giving the students a solid framework. He's admitting it himself. He's saying, here's what I want to teach. Now I'm not going to teach it. I used to teach spiritual practice. Now I'm going to take it away. Guys, I made this channel in a big or small way to help you guys to get inner peace and happiness. And if you're constantly being told one thing and then the next and don't do spiritual practice, and no wonder it's so damaging. He even was on an interview with Kurt Jaimungal. I think it was 2 parts of 5 hours long, or a 5-hour part, then a 7-hour part. I watched the first part, 5 hours. And in that, he was again saying, I have realized God consciousness. I have realized how I'm consciously creating reality. I have realized how all the books, he had all these stack of books behind him. I have realized how I've consciously written all those books. And Kurt Jaimungal said, fair enough. If you understand how you've created all the books, how you've created all the past, can you tell us anything about the future? And he said, I can't, because the future doesn't exist. He also said, I still acknowledge there are people that can read minds, read the future. He says, I just haven't developed that power yet. See how it's very confusing? And how can you not develop that power if you're God? I'm not saying this in a mocking way, but what I'm saying is, if you're not clear with what you're saying, people can get confused. People can think awakening is this very mystical, amazing thing. But I'll leave the video there. All I'm saying, guys, if you want genuine inner peace and happiness, being biased and all, go to Hinduism. They're very down-to-earth grounded. They meet you where you're at, which is feel like you're a person living a life, feel like you've got desires, go. Just do them in an ethical way. Slowly you'll lose interest in this world and there'll be teachings every step along the way. Think there's happiness in the world? Do it in an ethical way. Starting to lose interest? Bring a bit of God into your life. Starting to question, how are me and God separate if God is all there is? Exactly. Welcome to Advaita Vedanta. See, so take it slow. They guide you every step of the way in a healthy way to inner peace and happiness. Why reinvent the wheel? Hinduism has already invented the wheel and it's perfect. So why try to reinvent it? There's a teaching for everyone and whatever belief system you hold currently. It's very inclusive because God is all there is. But now, let's spend the rest of the video picking apart solipsism. Here's my own stance on it, and of course you can counter me with your belief system. There's two types of solipsism. There's the personal solipsism and the metaphysical solipsism. Many people have said to me, why are you attacking Leo? He's talking about metaphysical solipsism. Of course, you, as this person, isn't coming up with this reality. Don't worry, I've studied both. What's the standard solipsism? All I know is the contents of my mind. How do I know anyone else is conscious? I know I'm conscious. How do I know they're conscious? Here's my argument against that. If this was a dream, there must be a dreamer. Now, my name is Simon living in Australia. Imagine if my true self was a woman called Sally in England. So Sally in England falls asleep and dreams up Simon in Australia. Now Simon gets very philosophical and says, I've heard of something called solipsism, that life is a dream, that only my mind exists. So this Simon character, a dream character in Sally's mind in England, starts looking around this dream with suspicion, going, I know I'm real, how do I know they're real? At which point, the Sally character sends down a big dream hand, slaps Simon on the head and goes, Simon, why would you think all these other people are a product of your mind? All of you are a product of my mind, Sally, in England, dreaming all this up. So this character you think you are, going around going, is everyone else conscious? Are they real? Sorry, you're as real as these other characters. Do you feel real and conscious? So do they. You, this character, is not dreaming up other characters because you're dreamt up by Sally in this example. Another problem with solipsism, which there's another YouTuber that talks about solipsism. I'm going to not use names unless it's necessary. I had to use Leo's name because it was necessary. He basically talks about solipsism and about how, what happens if you wake up and realize all this is a dream? And when you wake up, while the dream's still happening, you can consciously control the dream. Much like in a lucid dream. And that's the issue right there. I've done a lot of normal dreaming and a lot of lucid dreaming. And here's the difference if you don't know. A regular dream, you're in a dream and you don't even question it. You're just going along with the dream, thinking it's real until you wake up. And then you go, oh, that was a weird dream. What's a lucid dream? You're in a regular dream, you think it's real, and then you have this funny feeling something's not right. Then you do a reality check. What's my reality check? I check my hand in a dream. If I'm a bit sus, is this real or not? Every time I check my hand in a dream, my fingers are bent. They're all bent to the side. When I see them bent to the side, that's when I know, oh, what I suspected is true. I had a feeling this wasn't real. That's confirmed it. It is a dream. You know what I do at that point? Knowing that this is all a dream and I'm safely tucked up in bed, I go running, flying, walking through walls. I perform all these miracles in the dream. You know why? Because I have 100% confidence it's not real. Because I know for certain I'm dreaming this up in bed. The problem with these solipsists saying, how do we know this isn't a dream? That's the problem right there. In a regular dream, when you question reality and go, hang on, is this real? And you do a reality check, that triggers you into lucidity and you go, oh, I'm dreaming this up. And you're 100% certain. You know you're the person dreaming this up in bed. What's happening in this bigger dream, in quotes, which isn't a dream, Advaita Vedanta will say, it's dreamlike. Right now, we're questioning reality. We're going, is this real? The solipsist is doing this right now. Is this real? How do I know it's real? The very fact you're questioning it and that hasn't triggered you to wake up to a bigger reality means this is the final reality. Or what I should say is, what you wake up to through self-inquiry. See, when you do self-inquiry in a regular dream, it wakes you up to the fact that, oh, I'm dreaming this up in bed. The dream character still continues, but you know with 100% confidence, I'm dreaming this up in bed. Why get scared of this reality? Let's start altering it. Let's start walking through walls, flying, doing whatever. But when we do self-inquiry in this waking state, we'll call it, how come it hasn't triggered lucidity in us right now? How come it hasn't made us remember the dreamer of this dream, like in a lucid dream? And my final argument against solipsism, just say you are dreaming this up. You're a bigger entity dreaming this up. And the regular lucid dreaming methods don't work. You know, where you just check your hand and go, something's not right. Oh, I'm dreaming. Perhaps this reality is a dream and you're a bigger entity dreaming this up. And to wake up to that fact requires more effort. Here's my point to refute that. Just say you did. You did some technique and you woke up and realized, oh, I'm dreaming this up. And then when you did finally fully wake up, this dream vanishes. And you wake up in that bigger reality. Sally wakes up and goes, oh, I thought I was Simon in Australia. I'm Sally in England. Now, Sally in England can look around her room and do the same thing. Say, now, how do I know this is the real reality? Maybe I'm dreaming this up. Maybe there's a bigger entity. And it just so happens, when Sally says that, she wakes up and realizes her name is Jack in Africa. And then Jack has the same problem. How do I know this is the ultimate reality? How far back can you take this? That's what I'm saying. At a certain point, you need to come to the understanding the nature of reality is pure consciousness, non-objective qualities. You keep waking up in a bigger objective reality and a bigger objective reality and a bigger objective reality. What's all this objective reality coming out of? It must come out of something with non-objective qualities. And that's what non-duality is saying. You don't wake up to a bigger reality and realize you're God, how you're consciously creating reality. You can't wake up and realize you're God. I'm sorry, Leo Gura. From Advaita Vedanta's point of view, God always knows God is God. God can never be deluded by Maya. And if you don't know what Maya is this world of appearance. God is never deluded. God is always consciously knowing God is God. So you don't wake up and go, oh, I've been God. And Leo, if he was to hear what I said, would probably say, no, but I'm not saying it like that. Exactly. This is why you need a structured teaching that's helping you every step of the way to be very clear on what this is all about. And again, that's what the Bhagavad Gita is all about. It's called a Brahma Vidya text. The science of what? Science of God. Science of reality. Science of inner peace and happiness. And once you understand the science of God or your true self, everything's going to fall into place. All your questions are going to be answered. How do I live? How do I treat others? What should I do for happiness? So many things fall into place once this knowledge is realized. It's the only one thing worth knowing in this reality. The science of your true self or the science of God. And watch how all these problems of your suffering slowly go away. So much sickness in our body, suffering in the mind, comes from not understanding reality. How does that work with sickness? When we think we're a separate person in a separate world, we do activities that harm our body and harm our mind. Comfort eating, developing addictions, alcoholism, smoking. Why do we do this? Because we're depressed, we're trying to fill a void, and then it harms the body, harms the mind. All this comes from feeling I'm a little limited person in a limited world. But once you realize the fabric of me in reality is one, appearing separate, and that everyone is conscious, only consciousness is. I won't get into a deep dive on why that's the case, but what I was trying to show you in this video is, here's the takeaway message. Let's do a quick review. Solipsism is a belief. Why is it a belief? Because you can't prove you're a bigger entity dreaming this up. Where's the proof? But one thing you can prove is, do you feel conscious? Do you feel conscious? That's the only thing you know. Anything after that feeling of consciousness is a belief. And that's what I was trying to say with these atheists. that I was debating or battling, which, keep it coming. I love it. It gives me a bit of excitement. All I was saying is, and what Advaita Vedanta is saying is, feel like you're conscious, feel like you're experiencing something. The first atheist said, I'm half confident. What? You're half confident that you know you exist? Come on. This is where it all went downhill from there. Advaita Vedanta saying, feel conscious? Okay, let's stop there. This could be a dream. This could be the Matrix. This could be a simulation. You could be a brain in a vat. Who knows what you truly are? But the one thing is, feel conscious? Yes. Are you experiencing some concepts? Are you experiencing the feeling of suffering? I'm miserable. I want to end the show early. Are you experiencing those thoughts? That's truth. For you in the moment, that's truth. I'm suffering. I want to end the show early. Truth. What's required then? If these concepts about life, these beliefs about solipsism are causing your mind to think those thoughts, you need some new beliefs. Everything's a belief. You're conscious, that's all you know for certain. Everything that comes out of that, belief. So stop taking your beliefs as really, really real and see them for what they are. They're just a concept appearing in consciousness and to consciousness. And who or what are you, ultimately? Your consciousness. Non-objective consciousness that you can't wake up to any higher fact. Because you'd get that infinite hall of mirrors effect, like I mentioned. Simon wakes up to the fact he's Sally. Sally wakes up to the fact she's African Jack. African Jack wakes up to his German Hans. I don't know. But just to review, guys, to wind down this video, here's what I'm going to say. Especially to this commenter. You've got psychological suffering. Don't think you're going to find the answers in spirituality. Go, seriously, see a psychologist or a counselor. Get your mind sorted out. Then come back to, I like to say, my videos. I'm trying to show you in a logical, down-to-earth, practical way how to live a healthy, balanced life through down-to-earth teachings. Many atheists would come and say, what down-to-earth? You're talking about a God. Because you're not understanding the concept of God and the inner transformation it's going to give you. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So get some psychological help. Get rid of these teachings of solipsism. Some people, of course, they hear solipsistic teachings and they love it. It helps them. Good on them. I'm not against solipsism if it helps you. But if it's causing you to leave comments like this, get out of it. It's just a belief. It's a belief that's not serving you. So I'll end the video there, guys. Hope it helps. Take care of yourselves.